This is a horror game podcast. It is meant for mature audiences. It may contain adult language, violence, and sexual themes, as well as shocking revelations. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I are playing the Vaesen role-playing game. I'm your host, Thom Raley. The scenario is called Borrowed Freedom. It was written by Matthew Sanderson, who is also our game master, and this is episode 3. Our recap will be given by Stefan Amshi as his character, Valentina Backlund. So, without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Stefan?
Most people view occultism as a mere fetishistic fascination with folklore and superstition, nothing more. Try telling someone you're an occultist and watch as their expression changes from curiosity to amusement and then finally into a bored look of ennui or exasperation or sometimes even outright derision. It's difficult convincing people of the legitimacy of my area of study. For those of us to whom it is a calling, however, occultism is the study of the intersection of folklore, superstition, and observation. There are many strange truths that lie at this intersection, waiting to be uncovered. Much like scientists, we must always maintain an open mind to possibilities beyond our current understanding. This is something my mother taught me. My mother taught me something else as well. Magic exists. As a young girl, she taught me how to contact the spirits of the dead, how to communicate with them. I had to learn the hard way that not all of them are benevolent, and even among those that are, not all the stories they have to tell end well. I'm afraid that this might be the case with our current investigation. When it first came to us, I thought that contacting the spirits of the murder victims would simply help us shortcut our investigation. The secrets revealed at our seance that night proved to be darker than any of us expected. The murders which we have been asked to investigate appear to be centered around a young woman, Marie, who was victimized by 4 men in her youth. The crime, which was revealed to us by the spirit we contacted that night, was kept secret by all involved for almost a lifetime. Even now, the remaining participants continue to obfuscate denial and only really show remorse when threatened with death and damnation, which tells me only that they still feel guilty because no attempt at resolution was ever made during the many decades that followed. On the surface, at least, the murders appear to be motivated by vengeance for this act. While I can only speak for myself, I can say that the details of this case have awoken some conflicting feelings in me, most especially from a female perspective. The unusual details of the murders have led our team to suspect that the murderer in this case is not a person, but a creature, a female spirit born from anger and made manifest through occult ritual, a Mara, a nightmare, a creature described in folklore that is said to attack her victims during their sleep, crushing them and strangling or trampling them to death. So far, all of our observed evidence points to this creature, but the exact details of what the mare is, or perhaps a better question might be who she is, are admittedly rather fuzzy. So until she makes her appearance, we must continue our investigation. I'm glad that I have my team to rely on, because I have well, let's just call it what it is. It's just a feeling. I have a feeling that we are headed towards a frightening confrontation. Father Nystrom can be a great comfort to have around, and Helena and Dorothea are good company and talented investigators in their own right. But I think for me, right now, it is a greater comfort knowing that Franz and Henrik are available to back us up. I do hope that the ending of this story is not as dark as the beginning.
Right, thank you very much there. So, as we left it, there was the sound of gravel crunching underfoot, and you have the officers of the Royal Mounted Guard, the Royal Mounted Guard, heading towards our collected group, who I believe are still at the stables. So Henrik was having a look around the stalls where the up until recently the four horses were being kept, but now there are only three. And yeah, as you are looking around, they enter through the door.
And
The
I had just informed them too of the man over at the church that was having the nightmares.
Yeah, that'd be Ulf that was over there. Yeah. Yeah, so
Hmm.
the colonel, with his somewhat nonplussed expression upon his face, as you've seen him wear previously, looks around and just coughs somewhat loudly to get the attention of the vet Marie, and waits for the assembled to turn around to him. I was aware that this would be a military inspection, not some kind of civilian operation. Would you care to explain yourselves?
Oh,
We have
yeah, we were just here to see the midwife, who happens to also be the person that owns the stable.
Okay, he's looking around to see if anyone else is going to back this up, or
We're here on a purely private matter of interest between us as private citizens. As my colleague
we're
mentions,
not going to
this
be in your
is not
way.
an investigation.
Yes, not in your way.
yeah, just that, as mentioned, this is a military inspection. We don't exactly want civilians walking around, even if your investigation is something that's completely separate to ours. You're still going to be here, and you're still going to be in my way. Do you have to perform this now, or does this is this time critical, or can you actually get out from under my feet for a few minutes while I talk with the lady about some, frankly, very important matters?
We are kind of in the middle of our investigation, so I mean, really, you're stepping on our feet.
Okay. Who out of, I'd say, probably between Hemric, Helena, and the good father, as the ones that have interjected the most there, would like to try and give me a manipulation roll? But the others that have interjected, if you've got a point of manipulation, you can also add into that dice pool.
I,
I, I think that if I attempt manipulation, it's in the form of de-escalation.
Mhm.
I want to so that no altercation occurs between.
I think Valentina is afraid that any attempt at manipulation coming from her would immediately, backfire. So she's just going to slink into the background a little.
I mean, Hendrik's
Sure.
pretty angry right now, so
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
not, I mean, not
I think it's
entirely.
natural that I would de-escalate or try
Yeah.
to.
It can certainly take that form. It's because manipulation is getting someone to do what you want them to do, but it could be via intimidation, it could be via charm or persuasion. It's quite an open, broad church. But yeah, de-escalation is definitely one way of putting a mask on it. Yes.
Okay. So I'll roll my manipulation dice.
Okay. And remember, add your associated stat. So that is,
Yes, empathy and
yeah,
6 dice total.
yeah, and add one for every other person that's involved that is adding. As long as they've got one dot of manipulation, they can add one dice to your pool.
Okay. So that's Helena and Helen. Okay.
Mhm.
I got 3 sixes.
In which case
Nice.
he is very much well, he's pretty much putty in your hands at that point. Uh, you can
What
see
a
this
fine
bluster
horse you
is.
have.
Oh, I quite like my old steed here. You can see definitely he's turning a distinctly healthier shade of red and going down to pink.
Uh, We'll do our best not to get in your way. I mean, we can certainly see you, so we won't get in your way. You don't mind if we listen in if you while you're doing your investigation from a safe distance.
Mm. Yeah, as long as you give us some privacy, I don't see how that can hurt. So he
Yeah.
gestures then for Marie to come over to him, and he basically wants to start questioning her about the recent events that have happened in these 4 stalls to these other 3 horses since Zorano passed away from secondary pneumonia. And basically, she starts running through all of the details that I think you've probably got up until this point, that you were told about how Zorano had been, he had developed heaves as a young foal, that he then was being treated very regularly, obviously by Carla, making sure that the straw in the stalls was replaced with silvergrass, so it didn't contain the mold that would otherwise exacerbate his condition, and goes through everything up until about the 6th, I believe, of this month, which is when he finally passed away, just because of a combination of old age and pneumonia having set in. But then, ever since then, the other 3 horses in the stalls have been going around in progressive order of showing signs that they have some kind of difficulty, that they have found foaming from the mouth or the nose, nostrils, when they've been found in the morning, which is more of a sign of that they have been ridden by the Mara during the night. But to them, they're interpreting that as, well, he's got some kind of respiratory problem, therefore he's probably got heaves, even though heaves is not contagious. It's like asthma. You don't catch it from someone else. And this is what Marie constantly tries to basically very subtly reinforce to him, that it is not a communicable disease, but he's not having it. He is very much so you're trying to deny that they didn't catch this thing from Zorano, and just beating the same drum over and over and over again. But yeah, apart from the little circular argument that goes around there's not really anything else that comes up of interest or that you think would be value to your investigation. But mainly it just takes up her time for about probably the best part of 45 minutes. So you've got some time to play around with while they're engaged in a corner.
So the theory is, and we're saying this quietly to one another, yeah. So the theory is that the Mara is somehow getting into the stable and riding one of these beasts.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever form that takes, who knows? But evidence speaks for itself, yes?
Is the Mara able to get through locked doors?
According to folklore. According to folklore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the description you had from the knowledge that Franz pulled out of his memory was that these things they turn into like a gaseous smoke, this oily smoke that's so fine it can even work its way through the knot in a plank of wood.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a locked door is nothing to this thing.
Valentina, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, so that I can have it straight from my notes when I write the report about all this, what is the relationship between the Mara riding the horse and the Mara killing? I'm afraid I don't quite understand. Does the Mara come and possess the horse and then take the horse to the house, or does it feed on the horse and then with the power go and...
They can do. Mara have 2 types of victims. They can either ride horses or ride people. So from the evidence that you've got from Regina's examination of the crime scenes, it would appear that the Mara is possessing the horses and then or riding the horse, and then uses them to get to its projected victim, and then circles them, moves around them like a shark circling its prey in the water, and then gives them a whole load of nightmares for 3 consecutive nights, and then on the 4th night it returns to the victim without a horse and then kills them.
So does it need the horses?
It doesn't need them. It's just one that Mara can ride horses as well as riding people.
It does seem like it's draining them something of their life essence in
And
the process.
Father, you said the man in the chapel, he's had nightmares for the past 3 days, correct?
Yes, oof.
Oof.
It's a good
So
thing that we've run across him.
maybe we should be there tonight to try and help him.
Well,
Absolutely.
you probably would like to discuss things with him beforehand, too. He's quite skittish, if you will, but he's also
Blame
quite manic at this point. He hasn't slept. He's struggling. But yes, he's hoping that the church provides him some protection,
I see.
but I'm not sure.
This Lutheran country, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, mostly.
Do Lutherans do confession?
High Lutherans do, yes.
Okay. So I'd ask, my character would know that. Has he given his confession? Maybe that's
Um,
what, from what I understand, these men did not ever really take penance for their crime.
well, I'm hoping that he'll open up to me.
Mhm.
We're roomies, as they say.
Oh.
Uh,
Hmm.
so, yes, let's hope. And even still, then maybe his soul will be saved, even if his crimes will be punished.
Hmm.
Yeah, we need to look in the grave of the child, because if the child is the creature and it was buried, that leaves some questions.
I don't think we're going to get permission to do that.
Well, I'm a
we can at least
priest.
look at the top of it. Yeah, look at the surface.
That's possible. Are there any cattle on the ranch by any chance?
Cattle, because it's primarily it's a stud farm, so lots and lots of horses. When there's about 200,
Yeah.
200 head that's kept here.
Yeah,
But
but
no, no
specifically
cattle.
cows. Yeah, okay.
There's a milk
But
farm though.
there is
There's
a
a
dairy
milk
farm,
farm.
which is the dairy farm was the second victim, which was Victor Brand. So that's
Mhm.
on the north side of town.
Why do you ask about cows, Valentina?
Part of the folklore, protection from the Mara. One of the things mentioned was a hymn book filled with cow's hair and placed in a window. And I don't see how it could hurt.
I have my hymn book.
Shall we try it, Father?
Had this for 20 years.
Sure, there's
But
a
if
hymn
it
book.
saves
Yeah.
if it saves people's lives, it says probably hymn books at the
At the
church.
church. I mean,
So maybe we can make a side trip back to that dairy farm to collect some cow hair later.
What else do we need here? Or shall we go back to the church?
The grave was the only thing I wanted to look at.
You want to look at the grave? Well, that's the churchyard, probably.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No, there is. Remember that this was an old monastery beforehand, so there is a small church chapel, but it's not really used anymore on the site of the stud farm, and there is still a little graveyard area that they have dedicated to their own staff, and some of the more prized horses also have then been interred there as well.
wouldn't hurt to look at that, Franz.
Well, while the military fellow is talking, why don't we wander over there and take a look?
Let's do it.
Yeah, you got plenty of time.
Mhm.
Yep.
So as you wander over there, it's relatively easy to find because, say, you can't exactly miss an old church building on a site like this. You do find that Carla has slipped out and has headed over there already anyway, and you find her stood over Zorano's little headstone that's there. It's a very small, very very tasteful affair, though. It's not particularly ostentatious. It's basically a small plaque that's at a slight angle, almost like a pedestal rather than a headstone.
Mhm.
That just has the name Zorano written on it. There's no other dates on there, but just then a little stylized outline of a horse.
Mm.
And you can see that she's evidently looking pretty sad, looking down at this. And she'll hear you coming up behind her, or see you approach, and at least acknowledge that you're there. Vivi's grave is off in the kind of human remains part, and does actually have dates on it. That says just the date on there of 1840. Going back, be a couple of years beforehand. 1840. My notes aren't complete. Sorry, hang on a sec. 1845. There we go.
Oh, Carla.
Hmm?
You must have lost a lot of sleep over this poor animal. Wink, wink.
Oh, over the years, a lot of sleep over my poor boy here. Yeah.
What about more recently?
Well, yeah. Ever since he's passed away, I've been having to look after the other three that are still in the stall.
How's your sleep been it must have been bad in the sleeping in that loft.
Well, it's rough. I mean, I sleep on the same silvergrass bed that I used to keep for Zorano in there.
Hmm.
I just thought if I'm there, and if, as weird as it sounds, if I don't have a particularly comfortable night, then I'm going to be more easily woken if they're in sounds of distress or they need attention. But it seems like even with me not seemingly having a particularly comfortable night, I'm still sleeping like a log, and they're still, whatever's happening to them is still happening. And it's just not fair. I mean, I put in all this work, I put in all this time and devotion to them, and I just don't know what to do.
Walk over to her and put my hand on her upper arm and say, Carla, you have to be able to take care of yourself in order to survive, to take care of others. When's the last time you slept in your own bed?
Oh, it must have been easily a couple of weeks by this point, because Zorano was going downhill well before he died. So probably right at the beginning of the month.
Well, surely it would do you some good to sleep at home and have your own restorative space. What if we took over the watch for the evening and let you? We have some equestrian experts and medical professionals in our group.
She looks genuinely stunned at that, but not in a bad way. So you'd do that for me?
Of course. A friend in distress, a friend in need.
Of course, dear.
And I'm a military man, so it's all above board.
And I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
There you go.
exactly.
If you can't trust a doctor and an officer, then who can you trust?
So it's settled.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'll gladly turn in. I mean, I could probably sleep right now. I'm that tired.
I'm going to
I'm glad we could help.
pull Valentina aside and say, have you explained to her, I arrived late, have you explained to her the Vaesen connection, that something spiritual and bizarre is going on here?
I have not, Father. Do you think that's a good idea?
I don't know. I was just wondering why she doesn't seem to understand why we're here. Perhaps it's best that we don't. People will think that we're crackpots.
I think the less we tell about ourselves and our purposes, the more likely we are to get to the truth quicker.
I'll agree. I'm surprised, though, that if the Mara came and secreted herself through a little knothole and stole a horse to ride, that our girl here didn't wake up unless she was somehow either enchanted or perhaps involved in some way that we haven't guessed.
It does seem likely that either Vivi or Carla has some connection with the Mara.
Hmm. Well,
But
we'll find
exactly
out
what that,
something.
We'll find out.
what form that takes exactly, I don't know.
There's 6 of us, so 3 of us can talk. 3 of us can watch over fellow at the church, and 3 of us can stay here and watch over the horses.
Well, I think that I will be here with the horses. I did promise to Carla that a doctor would stay, and
I don't know how long. Uh, what's Olaf's last name?
Magnuson.
Mr. Magnus. I don't know how long Mr. Magnus has been having these dreams, but I mean, we've got plenty of time. If we find out that this is the 3rd night or the 4th night, then the Mara's not coming for a horse. It's coming
We
for
can
his
buy him a
soul.
day with the trick, though, right? The cow's hair.
I just hope so. I'm not really into this magic stuff, but I've seen things, so who knows? Maybe Maras don't like cow hair, and
And
witches
surely,
don't like scissors.
surely the cost of trying it is well worth the chance that it might save someone's life, Father.
It takes nothing to try.
Now, one thing for our viewers at home that you won't see on the screen is you won't see the chat that's rolling by in
Oh.
the Zoom call here. So there does seem to be a bit of either debate or confusion over certain aspects here. So I think you've got enough information to be able to put this together in character. But to solidify it, folks can give me a logic and learning roll individually.
ooh, I got 6 dice on that, and I got 1 6.
Right, one's good.
Oh, good.
Well,
I
nothing.
got 3 6s out of 7 dice.
Oh, there
Six
you go.
dice
That's
and
good.
not a single one.
Right, it sounds like then Henrik is the one that's being the PI. This is kind of his thing. Is the one that pieces this all together. So you know that Amara has to be female, because otherwise, if it was male, then it would be a werewolf. So this is definitely a Mara, so it is definitely a female you're looking for. Amara is created by the mother crawling through the amniotic sac of a newborn foal. You quite rightly identified that because Mari works as the vet, or at that point she was the veterinary assistant, that she would be able to get hold of the amniotic sac to crawl through from Tekla, her previous boss, who is now passed away, the previous midwife. And so the child that was born, Carla, is likely going to be the one that is the Mara. Or rather, she is the human that the Mara inhabits and transforms and then goes out to do her, in this case, killing spree. But seemingly very directed killing spree. So whenever she goes to sleep, it will be where her physical body is that transforms into the Mara. You know that on the 3rd night, or the 4th night rather, she doesn't go to finding the horses. She goes straight to her victim. So you'd know that wherever you want her to go and sleep, which in this case you want her to go and sleep in her own bed, you know where she's going to be tonight, that she will transform there, and from there she will then go to try and attack Ulf, and you know that Ulf is in the church. And you know that sprinkling linseeds around the bed and also using the cow's hair in a prayer book put in the window, they are 2 pretty good methods by which you can buy yourselves time. They don't prevent Amara from getting in, but very much like certain tales of vampires, that when you drop grains of rice in front of them, they are compelled to count each individual grain. Similar kind of thing, that they have to either count every linseed or count every cow hair that's in the Bible. And by the time that they have finally counted everything, normally time has run out, the sun has come up, and they have to go back to their body. When they get back to their body, you have to wait until they have completely reformed and then declare before they have fully awoken you are a Mara or you are a nightmare, and that will break the curse that this Vaesen spirit has got a hold over Carla. So she will never transform into another one of these things again. She will just be a regular person from that point on.
Yeah. So Henrik says, "Here's my hypothesis," and repeats all of that word for word.
Well,
Wow.
somebody has
That's
to watch
brilliant.
Carla.
Yeah.
Somebody has to
Power of
watch
three
over
successes.
Carla,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
somebody has to prevent the Mara. Well, we can use multiple things, linseeds and cow's hairs. We can clip the cow's hairs short and make thousands of them.
It seems that we have two options. We can protect the man at the church from the Mara, but we could also surround the room that Carla is sleeping in with the deterrence so it couldn't leave.
What we needed.
It wouldn't so much prevent her from leaving, it's more that it prevents her from getting to the person that she wants to attack. So it would be you need to protect the person rather than protect the ward her
But
room.
I think I have
Yeah.
one question. If we somehow killed the Mara, would that also kill Carla?
No, if you attack the Mara when it's in its like Vaesen form,
Right.
so when it becomes this horrible, twisted, nightmarish effigy of a person, then that would discorporeate it, and she would return back to her sleep, the point where her body is physical body is sleeping. So that's another way that you can buy time so that this thing cannot get to its victim and try and kill them as well.
Okay.
But then we want to confront it when it's returned to its body, went to her body, but before she wakes up.
I have an idea.
Exactly that.
Oh, yeah?
Why don't we make this guy confess in exchange for us protecting him?
A forced confession is never a good thing.
Oh, well, you don't
Disarm
have to be in
Clint.
on it, Father. You
Yeah,
can
well-
be out of the room.
Henrik is still very much on the fence of let this guy die, and then figure it out afterwards.
Exactly.
Franz's
let's-
middle name is Jauvert.
Let's have human justice.
Let's let
We can
God
get-
deal with the justice, and let's give the man a chance to repent.
I
I mean,
agree with the
there's
father.
still one.
Let's-
There's still one
wait,
more after. Oh, sorry.
Are we living in a complete absence of empathy? I mean, they are human beings after all.
Well,
Debatable.
I mean, you do believe in punishment for crimes.
I don't believe
Bro-
I'm responsible for punishing anybody.
Valentina, Franz is very black and white, and you and I are gray.
Well, I want no part of abducting this individual and torturing him for information.
There's no
that's for
need.
sure.
Let's just.
All right. You guys stay at Carla's then.
Yeah, I'm thinking more. We just sit back and let the events play out instead.
I don't think we should let this creature kill him. I think that's beyond the pale. But we should let him
Well-
get arrested.
Well, let's worry about that after we've stopped the Mara. I'll go find cow's hairs, and perhaps Valentina, you see if you can find some linseeds.
Very well.
And
I'd like to try snooping around the house to figure out how we can get access to Carla's bedroom on the assumption that we want to get in while she's sleeping in order to catch the Mara when it comes back.
Okay.
And if you
Yours
want
is
to come
probably
with
going to
me.
be. I'll say yours is probably going to be the first one that will resolve because you're right. You're still on site on the stud farm, so yeah, you've got the shortest distance to go.
And as Carla's still standing here, she was talking about being tired, but she's still over at the horse's grave.
She's technically still on duty to
Okay.
a point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
But-
she's basically taken about a 10-15 minute break to come over here and pay her respects yet again to Zorano, and because she still feels such a good connection to him, even though he's passed on.
I'll go over and talk to her real quick. I was like going, well, with you sleeping, Carla, with you sleeping in your room and all, I'm concerned about you getting a good night's sleep and everything. You mind if I medically go check out your room, just make sure there's nothing in there that could be messing with like your breathing or causing you to wake up at night or anything?
Um, yeah, I don't see why not.
Oh,
I wouldn't know what to look for there personally.
exactly. That's why you bring in a good doctor like me. Oh, so you're coughing already. I'm very concerned about it and stuff. Which room is it? Of course, and
Mhm. Yeah, in which she will lead you back to the residential part uh, of the complex, where the
Mhm.
staff that are permanently on call are kept. So she
Mhm.
effectively still lives with her parents.
Mhm.
So you've got the say Marie being the veterinary surgeon, and also her father Oswald, who is one of the horse trainers. So she essentially has one of the rooms in their cottage.
Okay.
So the bedrooms are on the upstairs floor.
All
So
right.
it's you go back through the front door. This is where you had your meeting with
Hmm.
Marie earlier. So you go up the staircase, and then you've got a small landing, and then there are two rooms essentially up there, one on one side of the cottage, one on the other, and a window pretty much in front with that provides lighting onto the landing. You open the door up, and it's a very basic square room. There's not
Okay.
really that much to describe other than a bed, dresser, wardrobe, the normal things you would expect to find in a bedroom.
Right.
See the slanted roof,
Mhm.
and yeah, you've got the one door, and then also the window in through the from the
Okay.
outside that
All right.
also provides light into her room.
Well, if she escorted me and Helena up there, I'm going to look around, make it look like I'm inspecting it, making sure that she doesn't have anything, and then
Mhm.
sometimes like, yeah, no, this looks like it'll be should nothing be interfering with your sleep, and so should be good.
Oh, good, good. Do you think maybe she looks over to the window? Maybe I should keep the window open, maybe to get a bit more ventilation, or.
Oh, of course. I mean, a little fresh air and all is always beneficial.
Mm, okay. I mean, it's going to be cold, but I don't mind. I've been sleeping out in a stable for the last
It'll be
few
wa-
nights. I can cope with that.
it'll be warmer. Just make sure that you have a blanket.
Yeah, I'll wrap up warm.
Excellent. Thank you, Carla.
No problem. So I better get back to work. I'm probably
Oh,
going to
of
be
course.
still on duty cleaning out the stalls for the next 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah. As we leave, I kind of nudge Helena and go, that way we don't get in trouble for sneaking around someone's house. See?
Yeah, it's true. We come in through the outside. They can't blame us.
Mhm.
All right. So just checking. Where's other folks mentioned about going to either grab linseed or going to the dairy farm. So who's going to go looking for linseeds?
I'll go looking for linseed. Yeah, at the grocery store, I think, what the Americans call flaxseed.
Yep.
Mm.
Okay. Any advance on Valentina, or are you going solo?
If anyone would like to accompany me, that would be fine, but otherwise I will do it solo.
Okay. So definitely got Victor heading to the dairy farm. What about Henrik and Franz? Where are you planning on heading?
I wanna have a chat with Henrik in private.
Oh,
Okay.
And yeah, I'm gonna be like, well, the other people obviously are not as concerned with justice as you and I are,
true.
as, you know, men who've lived in an ordered structure in our lives, you in the police, I in the military. And you had the contact with the officer, right?
Yes. Yeah. With Regina.
So how
Uh,
do
our,
we how do we think we're going to get these people in prison? Because this is ridiculous to just let some criminals off. What the fuck? Or I wouldn't say that. Well, I am a sailor. I am a sailor. I could say that.
so Hidrick is still pretty pissed off because he feel like he missed something somewhere. Like even though he seems to have it all figured out, searching the stables, he felt like he missed something, which really upset him. Maybe it's lack of sleep the past few days or something, but he's real pissed off. So he's like, I'm having trouble seeing where justice is not letting things run their course.
I mean, uh, whether
And
you
I
think that's the case or not, it's not going to happen because the other people are going to protect this guy.
I
So
know.
I'm giving you the next best thing. And there's no Fifth Amendment in Sweden, so we could get a good confession out of him.
I mean, everybody's the father's off getting, cutting cow hair.
Yeah, we have
Everybody
them all
else
to
is looking.
ourselves.
I feel like we could head over to the church, yeah, and try to extract a confession out of them.
Yeah, greet our new roommate.
Yeah, I mean, we need to get to know him if we're going to protect him.
Exactly. No secrets in
No
the bunk.
secrets. Yeah. So I think that's where we're heading.
Okay, right. In which case we'll keep the camera on you two then, because Valentina and the good father are going to be going beyond the church to get to their respective destinations. So you get to the church next. So yeah, as previously described, you've got this big central main room, very sparsely furnished. It's very practical, and you've got the priest there who is scrolling back through my notes. Martina Berggren. She say is still there. Uh, will quite happily come to greet you when she hears movement in the main body of the church. Says, "Oh, welcome, faces I don't recognise
Good
from
morning.
outside of town."
We're with the father.
Yes.
Oh, Victor. Oh, yes, yes. He said he was working with a group, apparently doing some kind of investigation. He said, yes.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. I think he's out. What was he at the dairy farm or something?
Yeah, he was heading over to the dairy farm, following
Yeah,
our
I don't know
Oh,
line.
if he needed some assistance over there.
the brand place.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're trying to lie to her and trying to get her to head over there, you can give me a manipulation roll.
Well, maybe that wouldn't be a good idea. Because
Me neither.
I have one manipulation. Wait,
That's one more than
empathy.
I have.
Okay, so I have four dice. I'll give it a try.
And you can still push, remember? So
Yeah, I'll give it a try. Um, okay. Oh, two sixes.
she believes you at your word and, oh, I better go and best help him right away. Yes. I'll just, in fact, I'll leave you here. I can trust people like you if you're friends of the father.
Good
Exactly.
friends. Good friends.
Good
Yeah,
friends.
no worries. I'll be back in just a few minutes. And she doesn't quite waddle out, but she's advancing in years, so she totters on out. The door closes behind her, and you are left alone in the church. There is the door at the far end that goes into the vestry out back, which is where you imagine Ulf has got to be because he's not out in the main body of the church.
Yeah, I think we head there. And I'm not sure where I've kept this sledgehammer this whole time,
Oh God.
but it definitely, as we walk into where Mr. Magnuson is, I announce my presence with just kind of letting it hit the floor as loudly as possible.
You've been walking very straight and very stiffly this whole time. Yeah. Okay, there is a loud thunk as this thing hits the deck, and the poor guy towards the back of the room who was sitting on his bare wooden chair, trying to keep himself awake but barely succeeding, suddenly jolts upright. What? Who are you?
We're friends of the father. He told us that you would be here.
Yeah, yeah. Are you here to help?
Yeah.
We are here to help. We want to make sure no harm comes to you, but I think we just need a little more information on maybe your thoughts on how you ended up, you know, with these nightmares. Is there some guilt?
Well, I discussed some issues with the good father.
We're investigating incidents that have been going down. We know that some colleagues of yours have met unfortunate ends.
Yeah, two of them now. Yeah, which is why I couldn't ignore it any longer when I was
Yeah.
starting to have such experiences myself. That if I'm going through the same thing they went through, then I can't let it go on.
Why would you think that it would target you next?
I didn't think it was gonna target me at all. You know, I didn't know what to believe. You know,
But
you would have
you do
asked
have
me.
a connection to them, is my point.
I mean, you would have asked me a few days ago that these things, these nightmares existed. I would have laughed at you and thought you were trying to con me, or that you were trying to make a fool of me or something.
Well, do you believe in the occult? You have to now. You're a target of it.
Yeah.
I I believe I know what I've experienced.
Well, maybe you'll believe me when I say that one of my colleagues called up the spirit of your dead friend. What was his name again? Steve or start with an S?
That would have been. Let me scroll back. Uh, Fred Olander
Yeah,
and
Fred.
Victor
Fred, yeah,
Brand. They're the
Fred.
two that have died so far.
Yeah, we talked with your colleague Fred.
I He blinks. So that sounds like you said you talked to Fred.
Yes,
Fred had a
after
lot to
he'd
say. Yeah.
passed.
Had a lot to say.
He looks somewhat disbelieving.
Well, he confessed to us that you were involved in a crime involving the veterinarian at the farm.
Some
He
years ago.
gulps. Yeah.
And I'm going to give him a very stern look.
He gulps, but he's interpreting it more like, "But I told the priest, and I thought he wouldn't tell anyone else."
He didn't tell us. I'm telling you,
Yeah, the
your
priest didn't
dead friend told us.
yeah, the priest didn't break his oath.
I didn't even know he confessed it to you until you just told me.
He looks rather shifty. But yeah, I mean, it was a long time ago. We were just kids.
And just tell us what exactly happened.
Uh,
We're here to protect you. We have good knowledge of how to help you.
he sighs again, and look, we'd all had eyes. All four of us had had eyes on Marie ever since we all went to the same schoolhouse in town. We'd all grown up together. She left. We thought that we would never see her again. She came back because she got a job at the farm after having studied veterinary science down in Lund. Um, she came out to celebrate that night. Uh, Given that Stefan's parents owned the Silver Spur, I mean, he owns it now, but they owned it back then. That we managed to basically take over a corner and we managed to get as much drinks as we liked. Uh, we got the booze flowing. We all got drunk. She got drunk. She didn't say no, and one thing led to another, and we all. And he just lets the words trailed off.
And boys will be boys, huh?
Yeah, exactly that. It's just that. It's just natural.
So who's the fourth? We have the two that have,
It was the tavern keeper, I think he said.
was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. Stefan Lundberg. So
All
he
right.
inherited the Silver Spur from his parents after they passed.
Well, I don't know what you told the father, but we are going to protect you. But our penance is going to be different. And I'll just look at Henrik and be like, I think that's all the information we need.
Yeah.
He starts his lips quivering. Whoa, 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 what do you mean by that?
No,
I would expect you to do the morally right thing after we've saved your life.
Exactly.
And you should probably convince Stefan to do the same.
What do you mean morally right?
I mean, if I have to spell it out, you should turn yourself over to the police.
But it's so long ago, and it was she didn't say no.
Are you about to potentially die from it? I mean, I feel like time doesn't have any meaning to, you could be dead by the end of the night.
But what do I do?
Well, let's say we have you breathing by the end of this night. First thing in the morning, you find yourself the nearest constable and confess your crime.
That is definitely going to take some doing for this guy. So again, you can roll manipulation if you wish with assistance if you've got points to add.
All
But it
right.
sounds like Franz is the only one with points in it.
Yeah.
Assist me, Heinrich. Oh no, wait, he doesn't have any manipulation.
No.
So I would just roll my three, or my empathy, right? Which is
Yeah,
just
you
three.
you don't get a penalty. You don't get a penalty for not having points in the skill. It just
Okay.
means you roll the points in your attribute alone.
And then do I get one
I
for
do have one
Franz?
success.
Yeah. Oh, you mean one success or one dice?
Just one. No, just 1 6 out of 4 dice.
All right. Okay. So that was on your last roll, or you rolled again?
I rolled again. I had 2
Oh,
on
okay.
my last roll.
In which case, you are fine then. So yeah, it definitely takes a little bit of convincing because he really feels like he's trying to almost get himself into a state of denial that as far as he's concerned, he hasn't done anything wrong. And he keeps going over this point that she didn't say no. So that seems to be complete justification for him that even though it was that they got her completely blind drunk to the point where she couldn't remember a thing, they think that's justification because she didn't say that she didn't want it to happen.
Yeah, we're not saying we're gonna sentence you. We're just saying that we want to have this go through the proper processes, the order.
Yeah. You may still
Yeah.
walk free. We're definitely not your, jury. So
It would help with the process as well.
Yeah, and given it was so long ago, yeah, I don't see how any judge would throw anything at me. I think any warm-blooded male would understand exactly what's happening here. So
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, Henrik is boiling.
Franz is just happy that the law is being served.
This is I'm not doing anything. This is a full size, just so I know, full size sledgehammer, right?
yeah, it's a
I mean,
big
just-
long handle.
Just
yeah.
two hands are just gripped hard.
I'm gonna just stand in front of this. I'm gonna stand in front of the sledgehammer.
So I think that's a good point for the camera to pan away as you're very gripping this point where you can almost hear the wood start to splinter in the handle of this thing. And we'll go to Valentina going down to the general store, which when you arrive there, you find the place is surprisingly, because this is a Saturday, this is what should be a fairly busy day. There's no one seemingly inside. The lights are off. And the door is very slightly ajar, even though the sign on the front says closed. But yeah, the door's very slightly open.
Take a quick look up and down the street. Who else is around the neighborhood?
I'm very tempted to say one person, but that would take away from an encounter that the father's going to have. So I'm going to say there will be one of a number of locals that will be around. So let's say, yeah, you spot a couple of ladies walking down nearby.
Okay. Just give them a quick smile and then head into the store slowly.
Yeah, you head on inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, the place is fairly well stocked. There's about 3 or 4 different aisles, of which then there are shelving units that are freestanding. You can see there's pretty much the classic things that you would find in a rural township. So lots of the small farming supplies, lots of stuff that has been imported from the towns. No real luxury items here, but everything is quite practical. And
Is there a
looking at
proprietor? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's good. There's nothing that really strikes you as being like luxury items, and everything seems to be quite reasonably priced. Which sometimes you find these kind of places tend to price gouge the locals because they are a bit of a captive audience. But no, it seems like this establishment is actually being fairly priced.
Okay.
But no, there
Okay.
is no sign of a proprietor.
Anyone who looks like staff?
There's no one here at all. The place is completely empty in terms of people.
Huh. I think I'll go to the front desk and just sort of be like, "Hello,
Yeah,
anyone here?"
your voice echoes out in the interior of the otherwise abandoned store.
How curious. I guess I will have a look around just to make certain that I'm alone in there.
Okay. Yeah, you have a wander down the aisles. I mean, definitely in terms of the storefront, you are definitely alone. There is a door at the back which you think would presumably go out to either storerooms, and presumably if there's a living apartment above, that's where you would be able to find residents up there.
Okay.
There is that doorway is partially open, as if someone came through it and they didn't bother shutting it behind them. Maybe they were coming through fairly quickly, and that's you're then getting the impression that that's the same as the front door to the shop.
First things first. So look through the shop and try to find the flax seed or the linseeds,
You do find
however
something.
they're
You
labeled.
find a fairly big bag of it.
Okay. And I will leave the equivalent amount of cash on the next to the register. And then I will place that in my bag and I will go on into the back quietly and have a look around the door.
No worries. You head on in there. The first room is indeed as expected. It's a storeroom, so there's plenty of crates there, some of which are open, some of which have been resealed, and the lids are partially askew. Again, nothing that seems particularly out of the ordinary. And there is a stairway which goes upstairs. As soon as you see the steps going to the upstairs, you notice that they're scratched and scuffed, so the wood is slightly splintered on some of the steps.
Wasn't one of the men involved in the assault or was he a shop owner?
Ulf is the general store owner.
God.
So the man who is currently in the church.
I will quietly head up the stairs.
Okay, you find he lives alone. There's no one else that lives with him. There's a couple of rooms up there. There's a small office where it seems like that's where his paperwork is all relatively tidy up there. But otherwise, that's where he'd conduct the boring parts of his business. And then there's his bedroom, which is a sorry state of affair. There's hoof prints that are marked where the horseshoes are scratched into the wood all around the bed. Almost impossibly that you don't think a horse could have physically fit in this room, but somehow those marks are still there. The bed is a sorry state. It is drenched in sweat to the point where it's still damp even now, and the stench of human body odor. It's a very unpleasant environment to be in.
Okay. I'll back out and then head back down the stairs. And as I leave, I'll take a kerchief and wipe the handles of the door. And then I will leave the shop and I'll make my way back.
Gotcha. When you say back, where is back in the direction of?
Well, actually, is there a phone at the shop?
Ooh, these could be relatively wealthy enough. Yeah, let's say there is.
1871. Are there
Would
phones
there be
here?
telephones at that point?
Then I will call the operator and say, "Hello, operator," and I will give
Well,
the address and say, "There's been an emergency. You need to send someone right away."
If we are thinking that 1871, the telephone is probably not around yet, then it might be a bit difficult to raise an operator.
Oh, 1871, yeah. Yeah, okay. Never mind then. I will,
This is the future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I know they say
yeah.
we can. I know they say in the rule book you can bend it so you can make your mythic Scandinavia to your
Okay. You know what
specifications,
I
but
will
I like
do?
to keep it relatively close to historical
I will
accuracy.
physically walk to the police station to report this.
Ah, oh, that you were previously said that one of the problems that they had and why they had to call a constable from Eslov is because there isn't a police presence in town.
Oh, good Lord.
But you did you bring or did you want to have brought the detective with you? Because that's she is a resource that you can have pretty much floating around.
I don't see why not.
Okay, so we'll say that she's basically treading water back at the inn, so
Okay.
that she can be
Then,
there. So
okay.
you can head back there, and she is
That's
still
where I will
there.
walk back to then, yes. Yes. And I will let her know that I think something strange has happened at the shop down the street.
No, she raises both eyebrows. Well, what do you mean strange? You haven't found another body, have you?
Not a body, but a lot of I don't know. I think you should just have a look. It doesn't look right.
Okay, she will ask you to lead her to the scene.
Okay, I will happily do that.
Okay, so yeah,
And
back
I'll
trudging.
point out the scuff marks and the all up the stairs, and then I'll tell her, I just say, I came in here and I found the door slightly ajar and I was concerned, and so I came up to take a look, and now look at the bedroom.
Mm. Yeah, she heads up there. She's looking very intently at the steps as she heads up, and especially when she gets to the bedroom, she's like shaking her head and looks back at you with a degree of worry and says, "This is pretty much exactly what we found at the second victim's house, the Brand, the dairy farmer. This
That's what
is
I was worried about.
yeah, but where's thankfully there's no body. I mean, there's no one dead here. So where are they?"
I don't know, but I think we should tell the others right away.
Mm. Yeah, good. Sounds like a good idea. We should gather everyone together as soon as we can. And the camera pans to Father Victor, especially as mention of Mr. Brand, and you arrive at the Brand farm. So on the north side of town, there are a few people, a few farmhands that are still moving around here, tending to the cows and either carrying buckets and carrying other such normal duties around the farm.
Good day, sir. Uh, would you know who is in charge of the cattle grooming?
Oh, it's actually a lady that you spot because one of the
Oh,
things that
ma'am.
we're told is that all of them, all of the farmhands are female here. He
Ah,
only employed ladies, and
miss.
you, yeah, yes, yeah, hello there. You want to speak to Alice? She's Alice Bergman. She looks after the has been looking after the uh, all the cows.
Excellent. Where shall I find her? This over this way?
I think she's actually dealing with Mr. Bjorkland up in the farmhouse at the minute.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
No, and yeah,
I'll head
she's
up in that
just over
direction.
that way. Mhm.
Oh, one should usually approach these things with just simple truth, you
Mhm.
know. Well, partial truth. Oh,
No.
all right. So when I get there, I'm probably told I'll need to wait until
Mhm.
she's finished.
Well, when you head inside, you can hear a male voice and a female voice. Uh, the male is basically asking for, would you care to sign? Would you care to have a look through this inventory and then sign off here? And there's you hear the sound of papers rustling, and then when you head into what seems like a dining room with a long dining room table, you can see a man and a woman sat at the table. One of them with a briefcase next to him, and it seems to be he's got a stack of papers that he's asking the lady to check off through. He's a man that's in his, you think, probably early 50s, balding, wireframe spectacles. Looks like some kind of clerk, perhaps. He's got that kind of air about him. But yeah, they both turn towards you and says, "Oh, we weren't expecting visitors. Who might you be?"
Oh, I'm Father Victor Nystrom. I don't want to interrupt you, but I was hoping that I'd be able to speak to Miss Alice when she's finished.
Oh,
I'm a stranger. You don't know me, but I'll explain. It's nothing really important.
oh no, no worries. Well, we're pretty much finished or finishing wrapping up here. I think the rest of the rest of the estate, I can do a quick visual inspection outside, and then I can come back and he looks to Alice, and then I'll get the same thing. I'll get you to sign off to make sure that my inventory is correct. She nods. Says, yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. She says, right, I'll be back in a few minutes. He puts the papers in his briefcase, closes them up, and then he heads on out. And yeah, you're left with Alice. So yeah, how can I help?
This is going to sound quite unusual. I'm a priest from Uppsala. We're traveling out here in the country. I'm actually part of a group of individuals who are investigating. You've probably heard the recent murders
Oh,
that have been taking place. Yes.
oh yes.
Um,
In fact, I found one of the bodies. I'm well aware. Yes.
oh yes. I'm very sorry. It must have been quite traumatic. Um, well, my request is rather unusual. We're trying to find hair samples, specifically from various kinds of cattle. Um, I was told by one of the hands outside that you do the grooming of the cows. It's
Yeah.
going to sound very strange, but I just need a large wad of you brush the cattle's hair and you get a. It's a very
I
strange request. I'm sorry.
No, I've had strange all day with Mr. Bjorklund running around the place, and I very much doubt he would object to a few hairs being taken off the inventory of the estate. So no, I can sort you out that. I don't see why you would need them, but we don't need to keep them either. So this
Well,
no
if
skin
you
off my
have like
nose.
a receptacle that you dump them all in, then I can just take a handful and go. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, come with me. I'll take you through to the sheds.
that's awesome, fine cattle you've got out here. Uh, I I'm not much on a dairy. I don't eat much dairy, though I do like cheese.
No, it's primarily we don't sell the head here for meat. It is primarily the milk and
Dairy,
dairy products
yes.
that we make here. Uh, and she leads you through the kind of the mundane, uh, basically all their produce, and it's mostly derived from milk-based products. But they
Mm,
also have some egg. They have some chickens here that they keep as well. But predominantly it's milk that they milk
yeah.
and cheese and butter and cream.
I I just try to be very pleasant and very odd. She'll have a story to tell other people. This priest came and he wanted hair.
Yeah, I had the executor of Brand's estate come here to do conduct a full blown inventory to make sure he can get the will all set in place, and then I had this weird priest turn up. It was a hell of a day.
Yes, that was uh, while I'm here, is there anything that you can tell me? You found Mr. Brand. Uh,
Yeah, thankfully, he didn't blow my goddamn head off. But ugh,
we've been
uh,
looking for various connections. Uh, and quite honestly, it's a very unusual case.
well, yeah, I mean, how the hell someone could have got into the room after having moved a wardrobe back to barricade the door again? There was just no physical way anyone could have got in or out of that room again.
No window or
He
or anything
barricaded
like that?
everything, so there was no way
Uh,
to move the barricade back after they would have left.
and were there odd marks inside the room as if something large had been there?
Yeah, we all saw there was these what looked to be horse. It looked like someone had tried to make impressions of horse tracks going up the
Mm.
stairs and around the room, but I mean, you couldn't have got a horse in there, so of course they had to be faked.
Quite puzzling indeed, yes. We've wondered, I'm a religious man, but have you ever heard of some of the legends and of the fairy folk and the old-fashioned sort of legends?
I work on a dairy farm, of course I have, because one of the things that my old mum used to do was to put out bowls of milk to appease the little people.
Appease the little people. Yes. Uh, yes, this definitely has either the markings of something quite unusual or someone's trying to make us believe that
Mm.
something very unusual is going on here. Um, with the horse hooves and everything, we're thinking, like the legend of the nightmare, the mare that rides the horses and murders the men. Was Mr. Brand having bad dreams?
Well, we thought he was screaming in the middle of one night. I mean, I went up there to to see what was wrong with him. When I banged on the door, he let loose with a shotgun and nearly blew my goddamn head off.
Unfortunately, you didn't blow your head off. My
Exactly, yeah. I mean,
goodness.
I had to summon up the courage. It took me a whole 24 hours to go back there and try him again the next day, and that's when I found him dead in the room. But
Was that
I
on
mean,
the fourth night of his nightmares?
well, we'd only heard him complain the night before he was found. That was the 13th, I think it was. Yeah, and then we found him dead on the 14th. Yeah,
There's
on the morning of the 15th.
well, I'm sorry. It's all very frightening and strange. I'm sure that eventually we'll figure out who's trying to pull the cow hair over our eyes,
Mhm.
as it were. And
We got plenty of that to do with people if you really want to give it a try.
um, so has she sort of shown me the bin, and I'll take a big wad of it.
Yeah,
Probably
you
ends up
can
being thousands and thousands of hairs.
you can get a small bag full of it, so that's no
Yeah,
problem.
I can make a pillow out of it. It's quite soft. Uh, well, I'm sorry to have bothered you. It's quite pleasant. I love your farm. I love the dairy farm. It's beautiful. Smells
Oh, it's
wonderful.
we're going to need another. Hey, if you think it's lovely, the place is probably going to be up for might be up for sale. It all depends on what she does with it. But we're going to be probably looking for a new owner fairly shortly. Um,
Well, as I'm fortunately have a my own profession, but I am quite intrigued. Your little village is beautiful.
well, if you're looking for a farm, I imagine Miss Eliasson isn't going to have too much time to run a farm alongside her duties down at the stud farm. So if she is going to look to sell it, then you can probably make her an offer.
Hmm. Well, thank you very much. Uh, it's been quite lovely. Uh, I'll take my bag of hair and
No,
start
no
walking
worries.
back.
Hope it comes in useful. Yeah, and she
You
waves you off.
And I'm actually probably I'll head towards the church.
Mhm. No worries. And let's say for good sake of ease, that's a good point for Henrik and Franz to come out of be coming out of the church, and Valentina to be coming out of the inn opposite with or rather coming back towards the inn with the detective. And if Dorothea and Helena want to be walking back up in that direction to get everyone together, that is a good point to bring everyone in one place.
Was I able to confirm my dinner date with the military man?
If you definitely want to, I think you arrange for 7 p.m.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, yeah,
Excellent.
they are more than welcome to have company of a lovely young lady.
Lovely. Yep. Okay. Excellent.
I think you all should know that although I was able to obtain the linseeds, there's a rather uncomfortable scene back at the store that reminds me a lot of the two previous murders. I think perhaps you should come and have a look.
Is Mr. Magnus the one who owns the store?
I believe so, yes.
Wow. He's been having nightmares, so perhaps that's what you've seen?
I think it's more than that, Father. I saw scuff marks on the stairs, and the bed is, well, it's more than just simple nightmares.
So it's been terrifying him. We've also, I spoke with a Miss Alice at the dairy farm, says that Mr. Brand was barricading his room and in great terror for days, and then he was dead. He was found dead with hoof marks in the room.
I don't doubt it.
I mean, I think we've confirmed more or less that it's a nightmare, a Mara.
Yeah.
I've got a whole
So-
pillow full of
Now,
hair.
I think what
now,
remains is for us to confront it.
yeah. Now I'm just curious. Like not a big believer in coincidences. So the four men, one of them owns a bar, one owns the store, one owns the dairy farm. Did I miss what the fourth man did? Anyone?
Carpenter.
Tavern.
That's the
Tavern
tavern.
owner.
So we had the tavern, the store, the dairy farm, and a carpenter.
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
Carpenter didn't own his own shop, did he? So,
He operated out of his own house, so he had a workshop there.
okay, yeah. Yeah, I guess someone's got to work, but just wondering if maybe she's using this Mara to expand her business by buying up dead businessmen's things. But maybe I'm seeing
Let's-
conspiracies everywhere.
Let's think about it for a few moments. What seems odd is the assault took place years and years ago. The
Mhm.
men claim, at least so far, the men claim that she was willing. And why wait so long to exact some sort of revenge?
Was there an age that the person needs to be for the Mara to?
There's a couple of potential. This is where you have to cross-reference with the likes of werewolf mythology. That there are a couple of different things that could cause this Vaesen to activate. One of them is either becoming of age, that puberty, but you're a little late for that because
Yeah.
Carla is now 24 years old.
Yeah.
So the other options would be potentially either physical or emotional trauma.
Mhm.
And given the way that you've seen that she has reacted to Zorano's death, you're probably the most obvious candidate is emotional trauma over the death of the horse that she's grown up with, which was coincidentally the horse that was Zorano's amniotic sac that was used by the mother to crawl through to ease the pain of Carla's childbirth.
So I guess it was Heaves.
And then go back to what Valentina was talking about. From what I understood, the horse just circled them, but didn't circle them in their bedroom. Or maybe, I mean, who knows with these creatures and their abilities. But
I think
Father, you said the dairy owner that they found horse marks in his bedroom also, correct?
Yes, it's true. Perhaps the thing becomes spectral and terrifies its victim,
Mm-hmm.
or perhaps it's there in reality while the person is trapped in a nightmare. I mean, I
Perhaps
don't know
it's
how
not-
these.
Perhaps
things
it's not
work.
physical at all, and it's the person themselves that's causing all the stomping and scuffing.
That sounds like it's a psychological problem, in which case, how do you explain that it's in these multiple people? So I think that something is actively here, a demon that calls itself a Mara, and it's trying to terrify and then punish.
Because there were physical injuries, right?
Yeah.
To them, like
Yeah,
the
it's like they
chest.
They were crushed.
Yeah.
press. Yeah. Like a big.
Yeah, there were bruises on both arms where someone had knelt on both of the arms, so they couldn't physically move to try and attack their assailant, as well as their hair being ruffled up as well, and bruising and compression on the chest, which is obviously how they weren't able to breathe.
And how large was Carla? Was she a strong woman?
No, Carla's. I
Okay,
mean,
yeah. So,
she's
okay.
24, so she's
Uh,
effectively adult sized, but she's fairly slender. She's
Uh-huh.
definitely not muscular,
Yeah.
so
So,
she couldn't have done it.
on one of our previous uh, adventures, a very small child climbs up onto the shoulders of a person and grows and crushes them under its weight. So Carla, slight though she may be, could still be the thing that becomes unusually strong and heavy, kills.
Thing almost killed me.
oh,
Yes.
my. Well, seems that I think we
I
know
think,
who our culprit is, and we
and I
have
think
our.
we know what to do, don't we?
I think so. We have our linseeds. We have our cow hair and prayer book, and
So,
Helena and I have coordinated so the windows will be open to Carla's bedroom, so we can yell up "You're Amara."
You have to be there to point at her and declare.
Damn
I
it!
doubt it's
We can fetch a
1871. I
ladder.
don't think anybody in the country locks their doors. You just walk in.
They have shotguns.
Yeah, but I don't think
Yes.
they're afraid of criminals out here in the middle of nowhere.
Mm.
It's not part of their psychology. So we're going to split into two teams, one at the church to distract and keep the Mara occupied until sunup, and then the others shall confront it when it returns. And hopefully we're correct and it's not somebody else.
But at least we'll protect this man. If it is someone else, then we've protected him for another night, whether or not he deserves protection. But
I'll shake the bag of hair and I say, how many hairs do you think are in here? A million? Hopefully the Mara can't count really fast.
yeah.
Damn it, you saw through my cunning workaround.
I've seen that Dracula movie where they throw the poppy seeds and he goes 10,974,000 before they hit the ground.
God, no, that ain't gonna work here.
The Rain Man Mara.
Well, I think Henry, I'm going to be on, stay at the church, and help with the Mara.
I don't know if it's going to manifest and we're going to be able to see it.
Well,
In
just
which
in
case,
case.
if it does, I'm sure it'll be angry at us.
Surely you'll be able to tell if it's trying to kill the guy, even if you can't see the Mara itself.
If it has to count, I mean, it left marks, so it must manifest itself in some way.
Mhm.
Should we build like a ring around him of hair and linseeds, and so that it can't get to us until
The
it has
hair
counted?
belongs in the hymn book and should be placed in a window, according to
Oh,
the
yes,
folklore.
yes. To keep it from coming inside. I'm not sure there's an opening window in the church.
Doesn't
Probably
say that it has to be
There is-
open, just on the windowsill.
Yeah, there is in the vestry.
Okay. Well, let's get to it. We'll set everything up.
Mhm.
Right. So for looking at the clock, we should be able to wrap up tonight. So if everyone is going along with that plan, hands up if you're going to the church to be part of Team Guard Ulf. Okay, so 4 of you are going to the church.
We should go 3. Church, 3. The occultist, you need to be at where the Mara comes back to.
Then it
All
becomes
right.
boys versus girls.
All right, I'll join the team.
Girls
I think-
rule.
I think the armed people should be where the monster is.
Well, it's going to be in both places.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
I
it'll
guess
be
that's
exhausted.
true.
It'll be exhausted when he gets back to the house
feel like
after
It's here to kill.
More
counting
aggressive at the
your
church.
black seed
Yeah.
or linseed.
And then all we have to do is say, "You're a Mara," and
I'll give
And
Dorothea
also,
one of my
if Franz
swords.
and Heinrich can attack it and damage it or kill it, and it dematerializes and returns immediately
Wait.
to Carla, then you can take care of the problem even earlier.
And get a good night's sleep even. Perfect.
Back on the train to home in no time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
All
sounds
right.
like then all of the guys are going to the church, and all of the ladies are going to go to the
Stud
go to the
farm.
bed.
I did pick up the rifle from our
Mhm.
Yeah, you can
our treasury.
definitely have a gun. Not a problem. Now, getting into mechanical benefits here. Dorothea, you're going to have a lovely evening with some very, admittedly, some they're military types. You know how this goes. They will make some lewd innuendo, but otherwise will be relatively good company.
Mhm.
You can regain one condition from
Nice.
semi-pleasant experience.
Well,
Mainly
I
makes you
can
good.
double entendre back to them just as hard as they can.
Very true.
Mhm.
Right. Does anyone want to use their memento to heal up to 2 other conditions on your sheet at this point? Because now is a good point to do it before you go too far.
I will.
Hanging on to his
I will
anger.
say prayers. Yeah, I'll use my cross. And
Mhm.
yes, and I can give blessings to
Mhm.
Mhm.
hear your
Read your-
confessions and blessings.
Now, the blessing talent that you've got, I think you can do it once per session, or mystery to 1 person or item, and that will give them an additional 2 dice.
Oh.
So that will be.
I think Valentina will need it the most since she's in league with the devil already.
Yeah, once per
Very
session.
funny,
so,
Father.
Yeah. So you can give it to a single person, or you can give it to an object or person.
And what's absolution? That
And that's the one where if someone confesses to you as an activity, they heal 3 conditions instead of 2. So normally it would be you could have a little scene between 2 PCs, and you would be able to allow them to heal 2 conditions. But that talent means they can go up to 3. But they'd have to be severely messed up for you to have 3 conditions already by this point.
yeah. So I guess what can I guess who wants my blessing? Valentina might be insulted. So Dorothea, Helena, do you want a blessing?
I don't
Well,
think it'll
Father,
work if
if
you
you're
cast it on
offering,
me.
I'm not offended by it.
Well,
Maybe.
who
See how
wants
it
it
could hurt.
most? We can have a contest. I'll give it to Dorothea
Thank you, Father.
since she's the loose woman. So
Oh, you need to give it to her as a kind of cleansing after having dealt with the colonel.
Mhm.
yeah.
Right. In which case, Dorothea, you get +2 dice to add to any one of your rolls coming up in the course of the upcoming scene.
Oh, thank you. Mhm.
The power of God.
Mhm.
compels you.
Yeah.
Right.
I meant to ask, does my sledgehammer give me any kind of bonus? Still,
I believe it does.
okay. It's the only thing I didn't have a bonus.
Makes
or
people
anything.
confess their sins.
That's right.
Oh,
Sledgehammer.
Yeah, suddenly Peter Gabriel turns up and there's a musical backing track. Where's the equipment list? Here we go. Weapons. Sledgehammer. It has a base damage of 2.
Okay.
Which is pretty good. Obviously, it can be only used at range 0, so engaged immediate range.
Okay. My crooked arm looks like it just gives me a negative to range, so that's not going to. Does that affect the sledgehammer in any way?
No, it won't.
Okay.
It won't affect that.
All right.
It doesn't give you any bonus dice on the roll, but it does 2 damage when you do successfully hit with it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Does
And that-
the bonus, sorry, does the bonus next to the thing mean bonus dice or bonus damage?
Yeah, the bonus dice is the number of
okay,
extra
okay.
dice that you get when you're making an attack with that particular piece of equipment,
Nice.
or using that equipment for whatever its mechanical benefit is. But yeah, in that case, a sledgehammer has a bonus of 0, but it does 2 damage as base for its normal. Whenever you hit, you start off at 2 damage, and then you increase it potentially with other successes that you roll.
Thank you.
All right. So we can fast forward a bit then to evening and our climax. So the first group that are going to have problems are going to be the ones that are immediately with Clara. So whereabouts are the girl team? Well, describe where you are when midnight comes.
Figured, can we see the house from the stables? Like the bedroom window specifically.
Bit difficult because you're right.
Okay,
Then the complex.
Then I figure we'll just kind of be what position ourselves so we can see the window and possibly see the front door. Don't know how she's going to get out, but we want to see if she actually does leave. That way, if the Mara shows up and she didn't leave, it wasn't her.
All right. Looks like the father had a quick question.
Yes. In preparation, I'm sure we would have done this, but have we determined from Olaf whether this is the 3rd or the 4th night?
This is the 4th night that's coming.
Yeah.
So it's not going to go for the horses. It's going to go
No.
directly. Okay.
Also,
Mm.
could we get some flour in case it's invisible?
Yeah,
We need
you can
to
easily get flour.
outline it.
You've got a general
Great.
store that's currently missing its
Yeah.
its proprietor, so you
That
can
means
free.
everything's free, baby.
All free.
There
yeah.
we go.
Says the lawman who insists on justice. You have to pay.
Of course, of course.
Using the flour to protect the general store owner. That's paying. Okay, that's how we'll set. That's how I suggest we set it up. I don't want to tell Helena and Valentina how.
I'll pull out my camera and find a place where I can aim what passes for a crazy zoom lens in 1871
Okay.
through the bedroom window. I'd love to try to get some pictures of this process as it's happening.
Nice. Oh, we'll see. If you pass your fear check, then you'll be able to take a photo.
Cool.
Nice.
And Valentina, any other prep or additions to being where you want to be?
I don't think there's much I can do, to be perfectly honest. So I'll just be ready.
No worries. Right. Midnight comes, so off in the distance you hear maybe the church clock strike 12, and you can all hear that there is something stirring inside Clara's bedroom. The bed sheets are thrown aside, and this sound that sounds like this large, deep intake of breath starts to ominously build inside her room. And this large black mass starts clawing its way out through her open window. This thing looks like maybe a horrible parody of a person. It's almost a bit like the Revenant that some of you may have met back in the past. That it's got long legs, long arms, clawed hands, this almost melted like a human face, with two rather large, very pale blue, ice cold eyes. So as if it's very much got its mother's eyes. But otherwise, that's about the only familial resemblance that you can peg to either Marie or Clara. Although it doesn't look like it's got either of their faces; it's just the eyes that match the same. And yeah, this thing is horrible. It's wrapped in this oily darkness, almost like it's using shadow to cover up various parts of itself. This thing is, I say, horrible is the word. This is where you need to make a fear check. So this is your choice of logic or empathy. Your choice. Now, if you've got the talent brave, you add 1 dice.
Okay.
If you've got the talent safety in numbers, because there are 3 of you, you get an additional 2 dice. And all of you, because you are members of the society, get an additional 2 dice because you have 2 other members of the society with you.
All right.
So count them up, roll them. You are looking to get 2 successes. You need 2 6s.
2 with the bonus from the society I get today.
Hey. Right, so Helena's fine and can indeed go click on the camera.
I only got 1 success.
I'm going to drop my teacup on the floor and shatter. I'm just going to be like, good God. I hope that thing doesn't come back.
Guess what? It has to come back to manifest. So you've got choices at this point between Dorothea and Valentina. Because you didn't get the target number of successes, you are going to take a number of conditions equal to the difference between your target and what you rolled. So 2 minus 1, you're going to take 1 condition each.
Mm-hmm.
But you also then have to roll for being terrified, which will be effectively a number of D6 rounds, of which you either flee, freeze, terrify, or faint, or attack or faint.
Okay.
But as you know, this thing is leaving, so it's up to you. Do you want to take the condition, or do you want to gamble? Do you want to take a condition and re-roll and attempt to get an additional 6? But you are potentially then going to take another condition if you still don't get that 6.
Now, when we re-roll, do we get to keep our success that we already rolled, or do we
You
wipe
only
all
ever
the
roll
dice?
the dice that did not roll a 6, so
All
you
right.
don't sacrifice that number.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna try and re-roll.
Okay, so gamble it away.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to get the 2 all over again?
No,
No.
you have to get 1 other because you've already got 1 banked. So you just need an additional 1 out of everything that you re-roll.
Well, I got 2 successes just on my re-roll, so that's 3. Though.
There you go. In which case, you are fine. You are cool as a cucumber. You've seen worse. In fact, after having dinner with the Royal Mounted Guard, you've definitely seen worse tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I bet Dorothea slept with worse.
Yeah, I think my odds are pretty good. I'm going to make a re-roll as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I got
can't
1
wait to
more,
get-
so that puts me at 2.
There you go. In which case, you take the 1 condition for just doing the re-roll, but then you're not terrified, so you don't lose control of your action for however long it would have been.
Okay.
So, yep, Helena reacts by going click and getting this picture of this horrific thing leaning out of the window. The other 2 of you are maybe but a little bit shocked for a second, but managed to hold on to yourselves. You made a stern stuff as this thing turns into this smoky mass, and like an arrow shot from a bolt from a crossbow, just shoots across the sky in the direction of the church.
God, it's awful.
And you know it's going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And over at the church, the 3 of you, you're there. Where do you want the priest to be?
It's the question I had.
I think that I have taken a number of Bibles and or hymnals and stuffed them with hair and placed them in the window. Um, I think that we have made a circle around Mr. Magnus of linseed oil, of linseeds scattered on the floor, and I will be in the circle with him, holding my cross and reciting prayers in the hopes of keeping out the demonic force.
Gotcha. I was mainly meaning the resident priest. So
Oh.
Where do you want her to be?
I mean, if we
I
could,
think she should also be saying prayers. I've told her this is a demon that we're dealing with. I've let her in on the strangeness of it all. So she'll be in the circle with me. We'll be on either side of Magnus. And we've told Magnus what's going on. But does he have to go to bed? Does he have to sleep?
Oh, he's sleeping anyway because he collapses
Right.
under exhaustion. He can't stay awake any longer.
And I've reassured her, you must be careful. All of what we have believed from the beginning is true, and these things are real. So don't freak out when you see this hideous monster. Rely on God. Say your prayers. Keep your eyes averted from the thing, and keep them on your book and pray. I'll take a peek, but I'm yeah.
I'll offer the priest a sword.
She won't take that.
What, you never heard of Cardinal Richelieu?
What year is that? Oh, that's 17. Yeah, okay.
I'm sure
It was a joke. Okay, it was
He was a
joke.
Catholic.
He was a Catholic, exactly.
But it's also that I'm also a fairly old lady. I'm not going to have much use for a sword. What are you talking about?
Of course, leave it to us.
This is the sword that we should
It's much sharper than a sword. And what about our noble PI?
I think Henrik's probably just a few feet within, the entrance to this room. If there's a back door there, or if it's, through the church itself or wherever. Probably just a few feet from where we expect the Mara to be coming through.
No
Sledgehammer up on shoulder, just kind of ready. I mean, pistol, can grab pistol too, but definitely feeling more comfortable with the sledgehammer, on the way up. I was practicing shooting, trying to get strength back, in that arm, and just not quite where I want to be, but
ready to push through the pain regardless.
yeah.
Right. Well, a little bit after midnight then, as the clock strikes and then a few minutes pass and nothing seems to have happened, through the smallest little crack in the wooden wall, this oily, you think it starts off like maybe someone's trying to pour liquid oil through the hole, and then it starts to coalesce quickly and turn into this 8-foot tall hag, this horrible stretched abomination of something that is a mockery of a human being, that leers over and looks at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you in total that are in here. It's your turn for fear checks. So exactly the same thing, logic or empathy. If you have the brave talent, add 1. If you've got safety in numbers, add 2. And then each of you, because you are members of the society, add an additional 2 on top. You are looking for 2 successes because this is the first time you have seen one of these things.
Brave, excellent.
Oh my gosh. 0 successes.
Can we push this?
You can.
2 successes.
Okay, so father's good.
I'm gonna push.
Okay.
Oh, wow, okay, that's 4 successes now.
You are cooler than a cucumber there.
Do I take a condition for the push?
You take it for the reroll, but you obviously then, because you got more than you need for
Okay.
the fear check, then you don't take anything extra.
Okay.
How does Franz do?
I'll just fail, yeah.
Okay, so did you get 0 on your attempt?
Yeah, I got 0.
You take 2 conditions then, because
That baby thing really got to you in the previous.
Exactly. This is
So,
just
yeah,
bringing me back to the baby.
you can now roll me a d6.
3.
Okay. For 3 rounds, do you want to feint, freeze, attack, or flee?
I think I would freeze for 3 rounds.
Okay. They're all fairly boring options apart from attack, but oh well.
I think
So you're out of it for 3 rounds, but we then have to also decide what the priest does. So she's going to roll her 3 dice and try to get. This is your NPC priest. She has to get 2 successes on 3 dice. Let's see if she can do it. Guess what? She got none. So we begin with her screaming and running like she's trying to run for her life out of the door, going past Henrik. She's not made of her. She's not made of the same stronger stuff that the father is.
I'm going to take hopeless as this condition, not so much in this situation, but in that this guy sleeping on the bed's probably not going to face any type of justice unless, we fail and he dies. So not so much hopeless in this situation, but hopeless in just the larger, thing.
That makes sense. Right. We begin then with, until we descend into some kind of active combat, I won't dish out the initiative cards yet. What this thing is going to try and do, it's not so much going to ignore you, but it registers your presence, but it goes straight for Magnuson until it realizes there's something sat in the window and there's a whole load of seeds around the floor. This makes this thing angry, to say the least. And looking around, it sees 2 people that are not inside the circle that it can therefore attack.
Fair.
Isn't it supposed to count first?
I'm going to say it starts to count because it does. If you're not actively doing anything against it, because like Franz did not take the attack option, so that's maybe a good view. What does Henrik do in this kind of tense moment where it turns around and looks between the 2 of you and looks at the seeds in the book?
Oh, me. Okay. Henrik is 2 things, angry and hopeless, which are probably going to spur him to violence against this thing. Like, a cooler head prevailing would definitely be like, let this thing count. But Henrik is in kind of a state, he's angry at the guy who's sleeping. That's probably just going to get off scot-free if he lives. Henrik also doesn't feel like he has done his best investigative, duties here, particularly at the stable. So he's going to unload a little bit of pent-up frustration and just like swing the sledgehammer at the thing.
I'm liking the sound of this. Right, as you're the one that's initiating this wonderful clusterfuck, pick a number between 1 and 10, and I will pull the nth card off the deck for you.
6.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You go for 6, which is that one, which is a 4. So you're going on initiative 4. Low is good, high is not good. Right. Next round, as you're an active target, we'll go for Franz, which between 1 and 9 now.
And I get 2 cards because I have the battle hardened. So
Yep.
I'll pick the ends. I'll go on the ends.
The extremes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on one end you've got a 7. On the other end you've got a 10. I'm guessing you probably don't want the 10.
Great. Yeah. Let's go for 7.
Okay. And then the good father, you've got 7 left.
I'll take 3.
Okay.
For the
So
Holy Trinity.
Okay. Close is good. Pretty good though. 2. There we are. And then we're not going to count Oaf as doing anything. He's just going to sit there and scream. Someone who's not involved in the scene. Dorothea, pick me a number for the Mara.
And how many do you got?
I've got 6.
Well, you got to go with 6.
Far run.
3 times.
They go on a 5.
Yeah.
So That's like we work from bottom up. So 2 is actually the priest that goes first.
Okay. Well, all I'm doing is I'm reading the prayer that banishes demons. Let God arise. Let his enemies be scattered. Let them that hate him flee from before his face.
Okay. Let me do a quick
As smoke vanishes, so let them vanish. As wax melts before the fire. It's in my book.
You didn't take the holy symbol, I think, because that would have potentially given you an opportunity to make some kind of attack roll against it.
Okay.
So, nice colour for the moment, but no mechanical effect as yet until it maybe tries to break through. But if something arises, we're going to say that hasn't used up your slow action. So if you do want to do something at some point later in the round, then you can potentially jump in on that. Next up will be 4, which will be Heinrich. You want to unleash on this thing?
Yes. I'm swinging my sledgehammer. I mean, just full body mass,
Gotcha. Right, well, it's going to try and dodge out of the way of that. So it's going to use its body control to be able to try and dodge. Which uses its slow action. Uses its fast action, my bad. Ooh. Okay. How many successes do you have on your close combat?
I think 1. Yeah, that symbol is a 6, so 1.
Okay. I also have 1, so my 1 subtracts from yours. So as you don't have anything left over, then it's a swing and a miss.
Yeah, a little too angry. Just not focused on hitting it fully.
All right. It, on the other hand, is going to try something that's a little bit more mystical rather than brute force trauma. It's going to ask you to make a force roll, please. And
Okay.
I'm going to roll 8 dice for this.
I have nothing in force, so just my physique.
Nope.
That is no successes, or no 6s.
I have 1.
Yeah.
So I believe that is just 1 ace for this. I'm just checking because it's I think the first time I've actually managed to pull this maneuver off when I've run this scenario before.
I'm happy to be a part of it.
Hey. Yeah, it's just for each damage. For each success, it deals 1 damage. You immolate. You spontaneously combust. So your clothes suddenly erupt in flame as this thing utters this guttural hissing curse at you, and suddenly there is flame all over you.
Yes, all right.
And so at least you light the room up.
Yeah, everybody can see a little bit better.
Right. And then on a 7, Franz.
I'm frozen.
We'll say this has happened after your 3 rounds because it's dull otherwise.
All right, perfect. I will drop one of my sabers and aim a well-aimed shot at the thing's head.
Okay. I've already used my fast action to dodge out of the way of Henrik, so I don't get to oppose. So roll it.
Nice. Finally, something I'm good at.
Famous last words.
So I get 10 dice.
Oh, I know who I'm dodging against next time.
It's 10. I got 3 successes.
3. Okay. What you're using the sword? You say yes.
The pistol.
Oh, pistol. Right. Okay. So you're doing base damage 2.
Yes. Correct.
Right. You have some options as to what you can do with the additional successes. If it was a regular, like a human adversary, you could do things like maybe inflict mental conditions rather than physical, but Vaesen only have 1 condition track, so that one becomes kind of irrelevant. You could make them drop something, they're not carrying it. But you can force them into another zone if you wish, so you can force them to go to a bit further away from you. You could steal their initiative card, or you could do additional successes can translate into additional damage. So the first one always does damage. So you do two
Yeah.
damage with your first strike. With your other 2 successes, you can then choose to do any of those other options. So would you like to give it your 7 in exchange for your for its 5?
If I did that, would I have the same card next round?
You have the 5 next round, yeah.
All right, yeah, I'll do that then.
Okay, so that's one of your successes used up. What do you want to do with the other one?
Just do damage, right?
Okay, so another point there. That
Oh yeah, because I
translates-
got 3 successes.
yeah. So that
Yeah, I'll just do
translates-
extra damage.
Yes, that translates into 3 conditions total. So that's putting it in a mean position right now. Yeah, when you hit this thing, it stings, and she reacts. She screams. She almost seemingly starts to cry and starts to try and back
Oh.
away from you as you really hurt this poor thing.
I'm gonna feel guilty.
Maybe
you
only-
said that I. Sorry,
Hmm?
you said that I still have a fast action.
Yes.
Can I use my fast action to jump out of the circle with my cloak and throw it around Heinrich to try to smother the fire?
Yeah, I'd buy that. That's a definite good use of a fast action. So he's not on fire anymore.
But yeah, I put the fire out.
There you go. Right, and then top of the next round, indeed back to the father. So do you want to do anything with your slow action?
I'm going to I don't know. I'm going to try to scoop up a handful of the linseed oil, the linseed seeds, and fling them at the thing's feet, thinking that maybe it'll now have to count them before it comes at us again. Of course, it shows that it has magic, so I don't know.
True, but it
At
didn't
this
affect
point,
all-
I'm trying to protect my men more than anyone else.
Okay, if you're trying to do that, give me a manipulation roll.
Manipulation is 2 plus 6. 1.
Okay, so when you can throw it down in front of the beast. Between it and which other PC would you like the seeds to fall?
Well, I'm at Heinrich, so I was concerned he was on fire. So between me, Heinrich, and the thing.
Okay, so it's still got a clear path to Franz. That's good.
Yeah.
Right.
Not because I
Then-
don't love you, Franz, but it's because you're doing pretty good on your own.
Exactly. I can take it.
Okay, then I'm on a 4, so then it goes over to Heinrich. You're not on fire now. That's a good
Yeah,
start.
not on fire. So I feel a lot better about that. I think having, I think probably on fire, initial reaction would be probably to drop the sledgehammer and, start working on myself, patting myself out, So I think now that I'm not on fire, I'm probably going to grab my revolver, and just, take a shot. I feel like I'm pretty close to it, I do have a +2, I believe, from on the way down here, practicing a little bit.
If you want to cash that in for a roll, yes, you can.
I will do that. So is that +2 dice?
+2 dice, yeah.
Okay, then are you invoking my crooked arm to -1?
Nope.
Nope. All right. So that is 3. 6 total dice. And that is 2 successes, 2 6s.
Okay, same kind of thing. You've got options of you could steal the initiative card, but that would be worse off for you this case because it's on a 7, you're on a 4. Or you could plug it into extra damage, or you could force it into a different zone, which would put it further away from folks.
I think I think I'm gonna put it further away. The father's just put me out, so at least part of my mind is also protecting the father. So I
Okay.
think shoot it. Maybe get it to stumble back a little bit.
Gotcha. So it takes the 2 as base and then gets cast onto the other side of the room. So that puts it down to... Yeah. Ooh. Okay. It's interesting from my perspective now, because for a quick peek behind the mechanical curtain, Vaesen actions to some extent are dictated by how many conditions they've taken, and this one is now meaning I have to perform a particular type of action. So I've now got to read up exactly what this thing does. Oh right, okay, that's not nice. Quick reference to another page. Oh jeez. Okay, this might be a bit nasty when it comes around. Yep, you put a good hole in it, and it's now thrust onto the other side of the room. Next up, Franz, you're on 5.
Yeah, so I said I got the flower. So I'm going to try to cut the flower bag open to create like a cloud around the thing so it can't see.
Yep, that works. You can throw a whole lot of flour into the air. That is not a problem.
Maybe she'll have to count all of the little grains of flour.
Here's hoping, yeah.
But it doesn't affect so much the what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't so much affect their flour compulsion. It's specifically seeds.
Also, if it sets me on fire, flour is very flammable, so it's going to explode and kill me.
It's going to
Well, there is that.
blow the church off the face. Not to mention we're all choking to death on the flour.
Yeah.
All right. All its actions can target. Can't target everyone because there's a barrier up between 2 of you. Right, in this case, it can't rush forward because that would use an action. So instead, it looks towards where this cloud of flour has gone up into the air. Can Franz give me an observation roll?
Yes. Let me see. Okay, so I have 3 dice.
Okay, and this is... I need 1 extra dice for this now.
I did get 1 success.
Okay, let's see if I have any on this. I have 1 as well. Your 1 cancels mine. So that's good. You suddenly feel
good.
like you... Yeah, that was good. Yeah, you suddenly feel like you can't breathe. And then you push through it and you suddenly gasp. As if you maybe had a slight fraction of a glimpse as to what this thing could do to a sleeping target, but while you were still awake. All right. That's it, because it uses both of its actions to do that, so it doesn't get a chance to do anything else. So we're back to the top of the next round. So, the father.
I'm not much of a fighter, so I think that I will tell Henrik, Franz seems to be doing some damage to it. I'm going to step back into the circle and continue praying. If you do enough damage to it, it will dematerialize and go back, and they'll be able to kill it or send it away. So mostly advice, but back to saying my prayers and trying to drive it away.
Gotcha. Right. 4 then is Henrik.
Yep. Henrik kind of grunts, acknowledgement of what the father has said, and quickly fires off another shot.
Okay, go for it, because I'm going to save my fast. Well, I'm going to save my fast action as I have to again, so I don't get to dodge.
1 success.
Okay, so that just going to do two conditions, or two damage. So if I'm right in counting up, we had 3 in the first attack, then 2 from your 2 from Henrik's first attack, and 2 again from your second attack. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that puts it down to broken. So it dissolves into this pool of dark smoke. All its physical substance completely falls to the ground, and it shoots back out through the crack in the wall through which it came.
Quick,
Leaving
to the stable, or to the. Let's go.
And back at the stable.
Meanwhile, back in the back cave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, you would have to make another fear check, but because this has been done so far before morning, there's no point worrying about 6 rounds of you being out of it if worst case was to happen. So you find after a few moments, this thing, after it's gone, I wonder how long it'll take for them to deal with it over at the. Oh, don't worry about it. It's come back again. Yeah. And it erupts straight back through the window, at which you hear this thud as it lands back in the bed.
Let's go. I'll go. Did you get that ladder, Valentina? You were mentioning grabbing?
Yes.
All right.
You clamber up the ladder into her bedroom, and you can see
You are Amara!
on her bed. Her arm just flops off the edge of the bed while she's vaguely stirring. You make your declaration, and she suddenly bolts upright in bed, her eyes open, and she gasps. And her shadow just seems to get this little bit lighter, as if something that was extra dark that was hiding behind her or hiding in her very shadow itself just evaporates on the cold night air. Well, she'll never turn into Amara again. And we can enter into a little bit of a coda.
Doesn't she lose like a finger or something in the process? Oh, sorry, you can tell us that.
Only if it's done to the point where that if you do it too soon, that she wouldn't catch it. But clambering up, having the time to clamber up a ladder, you're not having to worry about that. You easily have got there with enough time for her to reform. But yeah, she's a little bit bruised though when she finally does reform, because she's taken. There are stories in folklore of where if you've hurt one of these things, and like you've broken their arm, they will also have a broken arm when they return back to their human state in the morning. So the next morning, what do you want to do to clean up this mess?
Well, did we want to see if that guy is going to actually follow through and go talk to the police?
I was going to say Henrik is lightly escorting Mr. Magnuson towards the general direction.
Yeah, he will begrudgingly turn himself in, because he will have woken up maybe in points through that whole event, especially as firearms were going off.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to sleep through that. I probably could, but he can't.
Anytime he seems like he's not going to go through with it, I kind of like point to like the parts of me that were on fire a few hours ago.
I burnt for your sins, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so especially with the detective being on hand, she can take him back to Eslov to make a statement there. So he rides off with her, and then, depending on, do you want to let justice take its natural course, or do you want to try and have an influence influence the outcome of what happens there?
Don't forget either that the tavern owner is also involved.
Oh, I assumed that the guy was going to rat him out.
Remember compassion and mercy. These people, I don't know.
Father,
Good question. I think probably having come off the adrenaline of the night, probably the two conditions I have, whether I don't know mechanically, but I think they probably lessen to the point that I can kind of align with the father that I'm going to trust the justice system's going to do its thing instead of like getting in the way of it potentially.
Well, you're neither jury nor judge, so
Yeah.
yes.
I saw
But
through
this,
my end of the agreement, made sure he saw through his, and just just hope whatever justice in the world there is, that it prevails on that end of things.
Okay, so we've got one vote for let the wheels turn their natural selves.
2 votes.
Okay, 2.
Yeah,
oh, I'd
yeah,
agree.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
well,
Okay,
if they
so
ask me to testify, I'll testify.
Well, that's different.
oh, yeah.
That's in the system.
Exactly. I'm not gonna do some shenanigans.
Okay, so
What
as mhm.
I was just going to say, what would you testify as to? That you tried to torture him to get him to confess?
We didn't torture him at
Other than
all.
that, well,
He
then
confessed
what do you testify? That he
that he
confessed?
confessed to us. Yeah.
Oh.
You give your witness statement. Yeah.
I'm not going to testify that we had a seance and met his dead friend.
Yeah,
What?
who's gonna
I think
believe
that
that?
would discredit me a little bit.
Yeah.
So it would have been if you'd have gone for trying to manipulate the course of events and trying to steer them towards throwing the book at him, for example. That would have been a manipulation role for someone to do. But
Mm.
as you are going down the route of letting things play out naturally, I'll ask for an inspiration roll from one of you.
I get a +2 on my inspiration rolls for this scenario, so I'm going to
There you
use
go.
it.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's 5, 7 dice. I am not inspired.
None at all.
Bummer.
Don't
No,
want to
that's
even try condition to re-roll.
um yeah, I will. I am pretty I'll say that I'm pretty frightened that if someone like that can't get the system can't take care of someone like that for me, then I could be vulnerable.
Mhm.
All right, come on. Apparently, I'm still not inspired.
Well,
It's a
Wow.
chauvinistic society.
It is. It
Feels
is.
like it actually takes place in America.
oh, cussing
Damn.
and harsh. But yeah, it seems like maybe the words of Ulf when you were talking to him, getting that confession out of him, where he's saying, "Oh, it was that long ago. I'm sure no other hot-blooded male would side." And indeed, the hot-blooded male judge agrees that this was too long ago. There was no physical proof that even though other people are implicated, there's just no physical body of evidence. There is enough reasonable doubt to say that this was not the case. So he gets off scot-free. But that just means that because the law has not said anything against him, that
Mhm.
there's not social repercussions, obviously, from the rest of the community. So it ends up probably being that his business, and not to mention the business of uh,
Tavern owner.
the innkeeper, yeah, they won't take a downturn. That maybe over a prolonged period they're going to have to reconsider their options and might have to just leave the community. And this is the place where they grew up. This is the place where they'd obviously had their family business and their lineage, which they'd taken over in both cases. And they're going to have to now put up sticks and leave in their late 40s to go and restart somewhere else. That's a big cultural shift for them to do at that time, and may not work out too well for them. So they may not have suffered the wrath of law, but social repercussions definitely hit quite hard there. Marie, on the other hand, she does get a nice little ending because one of them, as was hinted at, one of them did actually make amends or tried to.
Mhm.
That Brand, in his will, left everything to Marie,
Oh.
but obviously didn't tell her. So this was his way of trying to make amends in the event that he died before she did, and that's why the executor was there doing an inventory of the estate to make sure the will was all in place, so he could then go to Marie later and say, "Well, Mister Brand has left you the whole farm and the contents of his estate."
Oh.
So at least there's that one little nice thing that comes out of it for Marie. But again, from her perspective, she still doesn't remember anything of that night. Has no idea it was him. She's reliant on you for any of that information to say it was these particular people.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think
Mr.
the only other. Oh, go on.
Mr. Magnus, was he married? Was he?
No, Magnuson wasn't. No.
Um, I think that I'll keep track of him after even though he gets off scot-free.
Mhm.
I'm going to make sure, perhaps through letters at first, to make sure um, that he remembers what happened. And if I find that he is in extremely bad straits, I'm going to try to find a way to help him, because not because I like him, but because people fuck up and people need compassion after that. Thinking of my own story, which is I'm a criminal, or I was a criminal,
Yeah.
and I was never brought to justice.
No, that is true. That is true. But I think the only other thing to wrap up then with is maybe as you're gathering your stuff to head on home, you have that a last encounter with the colonel, the Overst
Ooh.
Winter, on the way out, of
Mhm.
which he obviously is very happy to see Dorothea, and is
Good to
very
see you
eager,
again, Colonel.
very eager to keep in touch. Should you ever find your way out towards Stockholm?
Oh, I will.
Don't you? Ah. No, yeah, he is very interested in keeping tabs with yourself.
Hmm. Oh, good, good. Yeah, I always like to have contacts in lots of cities and all, and you were a wonderful contact.
Oh, it's always good to hear.
Mhm.
And as the camera maybe pans off to watch you guys roll out of town, we'll cut to a little post credit scene of the colonel going to the local telegraph office in Eslov as you got on your train and departing, where he just sends a message to an individual in Finland, particularly in Helsinki, where he just sends to. In fact, there is a particular name that he uses. One sec. Yeah, puts it to the attention of J. Lampinen, just saying, contact with society established. Stop. Await further instructions. Stop.
Mm.
And maybe leave that as a thread dangling for a future scenario.
Wonderful.
Very nice. Enjoyed that a lot.
And how about character rewards? Or how do we do it?
Yes. There are a number of questions which I can set to you, which
Ah,
dig those out. So, questions for experience points. Did you participate in the session?
Yes.
Well, did you confront any Vaesen? Yes. So what to
Yes.
do? Did you identify a previously unknown Vaesen? As in, you had not met one of these before. Correct. You had
Yes.
not met
Yes.
Amara. So 3. Were you affected by your dark secret? So this is going to be a very personal question to you.
that whole end thing, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you take risks to protect other people? I'd say definitely the 3 of you that were at the in the confrontation at the church at the end. Hell yes. Have you learned anything? If so, what?
Mhm.
I learned a lot about Swedish justice.
Yeah, and how you
Same.
can't trust it. Yeah.
Same.
7, which is probably not going to apply here, and it is actually very difficult to get into scenarios unless you do something that's very castle based. Is did you develop something in your headquarters? So again, I'll probably say no on that one. But number 8, did you perform an extraordinary action?
Secret library. Was that not something that we developed in our castle?
It's more things like items. So if you would try and build something, if you have like the workshop or
Okay.
something like that. But yeah, it's
Um,
it's a very difficult one to pull off because you have to have the right castle upgrades to really do anything specific for that.
So what
I
was
thought
the
the
last one you
seance.
said?
I thought the seance was pretty effective in terms of like uncovering knowledge. So I would say maybe that would count as an action.
I'd definitely buy that.
What was the last one that you said?
Did you perform an extraordinary action?
How do we define extraordinary?
That's down to you. If you can argue it as being
Oh.
extraordinary, then
Game changing in some way.
Hmm.
yeah, something that really affected the narrative.
Yeah.
I groomed a cow.
Mhm.
It's weird.
All right, count those up, and I'll go around and take numbers in a minute. I'm trying to find the Annals of the Society description because that gives you, I believe, an extra one. Oh, there you go. Because you've got the Annals of the Society as a group already, at the end of a gaming session, a player can record their party's experiences, granting each player one additional experience point. So
Excellent.
you gain one additional on top of the number that you've got from the answers from those questions. And then for the castle, because you get upgrades for there as well, the castle has its own list of questions. So after completing mystery, you must answer the following questions. And again, each yes gives you a development point. 1, did you play at least one scene in the headquarters?
Yes.
Yes. Start the scenario. Did you encounter a new type of Vaesen? Funnily enough, yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
2, did you visit a place of magic?
Mm.
I don't think so.
Not really. No.
4, were you subjected to magic? Henrik got
Yes.
subjected to a curse, so yes, you take one for the team there. Did you bring occult books or other important items back to headquarters?
Yeah. Cow's hair.
Not new ones. No.
The
The
photo
captain
that I
of
took
the-
of the Mara.
I would buy the photo, yes. So yeah, we'll count that as an
Nay.
important item. So good job that you passed your fear check there.
I mean, it's a trigger finger of steel.
So
Everybody
that's-
screams at it when they look at the picture, though.
Oh my
there is
god.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you're up to 4 so far. Did you make important contacts?
Well, they,
Some of us did. Yeah, Dorothea
Yeah.
did.
yeah. He seemed
Any
pretty.
more?
Yeah, I
Kind of
think so.
Mm-hmm.
Was
Me and Mike.
the mystery particularly difficult and epic? This is your opportunity to butter up your GM and say how epic the scenario was. Yeah.
100%.
exceedingly
I think
epic.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to work out what it was.
I mean, I caught
Yeah.
on fire. I think that's pretty epic.
That's pretty epic.
Mm.
Your hot stuff.
Fire.
And did you solve the mystery?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, we never figured out why Carla was the daughter of the lady.
Well, I think you pretty much had all the info.
Oh,
That Carla was indeed the only one that was born because the timeline was that the child that she would have had from the gang rape was going to be Vivi, but she miscarried, and that's why Vivi was never
Oh, it
made
skips.
never made to be born. No, the Mara is Vivi. That the spirit that was possessing Carla was Vivi's spirit.
Oh,
So that's why it had the family resemblance. It wasn't actually Carla's eyes you were seeing. It was Vivi's eyes, because she would have also had the same pale blue eyes.
Hmm.
Wunderbar.
And that's also then why it has vengeance against the four potential fathers, because it's going after those that meant that it never had a chance at life.
So is that 7 development points for our castle?
Yeah, that would be the only one that you didn't get. Then would have been a place of magic. So yeah, you seven development for the castle.
Cool.
So I'll put that in the upgrade track. So 7. And I'll do quick.
Since it was our adventure, we should decide what we want, how we want to upgrade the castle.
Yep. So how many experience did Victor get from that?
Victor got 8.
Nice.
Wow.
And Dorothea?
5.
Okay. And Henrik?
6.
Right. And Helena?
I also got 5.
Right. Valentina?
5.
And Franz?
I think I only missed 1. So 7.
Okay. There we go. Right, and then we can update and spend stuff accordingly. We don't have to worry about subjecting viewer time to that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and finish it up then. What a wonderful game. Our players included Max Meltzer, Kent Blue, Preston Firestone, Keith Craig, Stefan Amshi, and myself, with Matthew Sanderson as the keeper of arcane lore. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you'd like to show us your appreciation, please visit our Patreon page, or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Thom Raley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of Scandinavian mythology and the Vaesen role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.